Hello there! Glad to meet you. Welcome to the world of Pokemon. But first, tell me a little about yourself. Now tell me, are you a boy or are you a girl?
They make games too hard these days. Weird as it sounds, the Pokemon series and my gender identity have always been intertwined. My playthrough of Pokemon Omega Ruby was the first time I decided, you know what? I'm gonna play as the girl character. And look at me now. Let me be honest. It is a difficult time to be trans right now. And while I have been very privileged to have the opportunity to play this game and interact with this community as a distraction from the horrors, it can sometimes feel isolating, knowing that the majority of the people around you are cis. This left me with one option. Let's get this place trans. In honor of Pride Month, I undertook a challenge. I wanted to build a Pokemon team using the 5 colors of the trans flag. Now, this took a lot of experimentation, but after a while, I was able to settle on a 5 that I really liked. And, as it turns out, each of them represented my trans experience in a unique way. For my first blue Pokemon, I chose Palafin. I felt that strong priority water moves would be good into the meta, and with Bulk Up, it could become a menace against physical attackers. I EV'd it to always live a Zard-Y Solar Beam, and gave it leftovers to ensure it survived on the field for a long time. This isn't any ordinary Palafin though, as this is Palafin, the Paldea Champion. Now, Scarlet and Violet were the first main series games to come out after I transitioned, so this came out pretty early in my transition, so it's pretty neat that I have a Pokemon from my first playthrough after I transitioned on my team. It's just a reminder of how far I've come. Next up, we have Mega Aerodactyl, specifically a shiny one since it's pink. Since Charizard is so dominant, I hope that this would be good at deterring it from coming to matches. Also with Tailwind, it provides much needed speed control for my team. I trained it bulkier than most Megadactyls, and with this spread, it survives Mega Frostlass's Blizzard while still having enough speed to outspeed Adamant Scarf Basculegion. I made it Adamant so it could still do some respectable damage. Now, Shiny Aerodactyl is one of the harder shinies to get, and I didn't have enough time to hunt for it before the tournament. Luckily, that's where a friend came in handy, and it was actually a trans friend who I've met through VGC, and that's just really something beautiful that I've gotten to meet a lot of members of the trans community through this game and being able to share this shared interest. And I've met so many wonderful trans people through this game, so I feel like this Aerodactyl kind of represents that. She named this Aerodactyl Harrydactyl, so from now on, that's its name. Harrydactyl, baby! And now for white, and I'm not talking Walter. I wanted a second Mega Pokemon, and I chose Frostlass since Harrydactyl checks Zard-Ys that can threaten it. Auroraville can help my bulky Palafin survive even longer while threatening the Grass-type attackers with Blizzard. But the most interesting move I gave it is Will-O-Wisp. Because I was worried since King Gambit is a Pokemon that neither Frostlass or Aerodactyl could hit, I gave it a speed stat of 171 in order to outspeed all Garchomps and Mega Floette. Frostlass is quite the trans icon. I mean, see Glalie? Now Frostlass, look at that glow up. Trans perfection. For my other Pinkmon, I chose Sylveon. Obviously, I wanted to bring the trans stereotype Pokemon. Need I say more? And lastly, my second blue friend. I really struggled to find something I liked here, until I remembered that King Gambit's shiny was blue. This was good news, since Basculegion was a threat to me otherwise, but since I was also worried about other King Gambits, I decided to build mine a little differently. I gave mine the Focus Sash item so I could invest in speed and always beat other Gambits by giving them a nice kick in the shin with Low Kick. This also meant Queen Gambit was bringable into Zard slot teams. I have a question for you. Can you name 5 trans characters in media? Yeah, neither can I. We're starved for representation out here, and just like I'm starved to find a connection for King Gambit. And the best connection I could find is that despite not being a gender-locked Pokemon, it is named King Gambit. and there's some level of gender fuckery going on there. So you know what? Sure. King Gambit, trans icon. You might have noticed I've only listed 5 Pokemon, and since the trans flag is only 5 stripes, that means I can use my last slot as a flex slot to help patch up the team. I decided on Sneasler since the fighting and poison coverage was very valuable to me, and Fake Out can help Palafin swap in and out more easily. My item choice is a bit unconventional, but I gave it a Lumberry because I didn't want to lose to Scovillain after calling it mid a few videos ago. Listen, I was wrong about him, I get it. As for Sneasler's spread, I wanted to be adamant because damage go brrrr, and I invested a bit into special defense so it can guaranteed survive a heat wave from Yard. This was the team I created, but I wanted to test it against some of the best in the world. So that's why I went to New Orleans for the North American International Championship. So I packed my bag, headed to the airport, and my flight got delayed and I landed at 2 a.m. And the tournament started at 9. I had to be there by 8. So yeah, not off to the greatest start, but luckily, coffee exists. I love caffeine. So fun fact about me, I am 6'3", which makes fashion really hard. Especially as a woman, finding clothes that are both gender affirming and fit me is very hard, and for the longest time I just didn't even bother trying. I kind of was a bit too intimidated, insert more joke. Yeah, but I was intimidated, and I didn't want to stand out too much because I was already worried about being 6'3", and I didn't want to like run around screaming, I am trans! But I am trans, and you know what? I am proud of it. I do love being trans at the end of the day, despite all the shit going on. So for this tournament, I wanted to try and push my comfort zone a little, and so I wore a trans-themed fit. So first off, I got a nice blue top. You know, it's kind of a crop top. It has this little cute heart design in it. I kind of like it. It feels very fun to wear, and it feels very light and breezy, and I kind of like that. But next, I needed some pink, so I decided to wear a nice pink skirt. It's kind of got this asymmetric design that I like. It's very frilly, it's very fun and playful, but I wanted to go a little bit extra. So for some white, I added these fingerless, like, sleeves, gloves, I don't know exactly what they're called, but I thought they added just a little bit of extra flair to the outfit. And you might be asking, Abigail, how can you make this even more extravagant? Well, trans cape. I don't know. I kind of like it. It's a little flashy, but I imagine this is kind of something like what I would wear if I were a Pokemon gym leader with a transgender type theme team. So yeah, this was the outfit I wore to NAIC. I don't know where to go from here. Welcome to the analysis couch. Very different couch than the one I was just on. This one's for serious business only. We're gonna analyze my NAIC matchups here. Now, on the weekend of, I was pretty tired and more focused on playing the game and being with my friends than doing any actual recording, so we're just gonna do this all as like a post-international look at how some of my matchups went, just some basic level details. So round 1, my opponent had 2 modes. They had a fast mode with Vivillon and Blastoise, and a Trick Room mode with Torkoal, Farigiraf, and Kangaskhan. Either of these modes on their own wouldn't have been a problem, but together they proved pretty tricky because what I led into one of them was very different than what I led into the other. Like, if they were going for the fast mode, Aerodactyl would have been good for Tailwind, and Sneasler would have been good for Fake Out, but if they went that Trick Room mode, both of those would have been bad. So I kind of just guessed which mode they were going for each time. I kind of prepared the wrong mode at the wrong time, and that ended up being my first loss of the day. Next match I was up against Perish Song. This one also had a Blastoise, but they never brought it. But round 1 into this team, I kind of fumbled. I tried using Harrydactyl to get Tailwind up, but then they just ended up stalling me out with Perish Song. So I made a realization in Game 2 that I can bring Harrydactyl and just not Mega it. And so that's what I did. I kind of led Harrydactyl and King Gambit at the start to bait them into thinking that I was going to do the same thing as last game, and then I swapped into Frostlass, who could switch out from the Perish Song, and it caught them off guard, and it really gave me the tempo I needed to win. And I kind of did some more of that in Game 3 to snatch up the win for this round. Round 3, I know how to count. Oh yeah, this one, it was a Floette matchup. It was Floette Zard, and I really don't remember much about this matchup. I played poorly. And again with round 4, another Floette matchup. Floette was tougher than I initially realized. I also lost this one, and also it didn't help that I got crit by Floette with Light of Ruin onto Palafin, and then in Game 2, my Frostlass survived Incineroar's Flare Blitz on like 3 HP, but then got burned for the kill. But overall, I could have just played that better. I was still waking up from the flight. But round 5 was my first Tyranitar. It was Tyranitar and Mega Caesar. Now this is why I threw Will-O-Wisp on that Frostlass, because that gave me such an edge into Tyranitar. And then I could just Wisp Tyranitar and Scizor, bulk up on Palafin, and then just sweep. Round 6 was interesting, because I actually played a friend of mine, Nick the Mismatcher, and he was running a Scovillain. But the main problem came from the Calm Mind and Baton Pass of Spothra, and that plus his Archaludon. My game plans into Archaludon involved hitting it with strong special moves or outspeeding it with Sneasler's Close Combat, and that was hard to do here. And even with the Lumberry tech into Scovillain, it just still wasn't enough. He called the turns that he needed to get right, and I ended up losing. And even though it was Pride Month, Nick decided to be transphobic about it and beat me. Round 7 was another Tyranitar team. It also had a Floette, but they ended up bringing the Tyranitar, and Wisp again helped. Excadrill here was tricky. It wasn't on the first Sand team I faced, because that can outspeed Sneasler, and it can also do a lot of damage into both Aerodactyl and Floette, but luckily that's where Jet Punch comes in clutch. And I was able to get the win. And round 8. Yeah, well, let's be real. I had gotten like 5 hours of sleep, and the coffee was starting to run out, so I don't remember much. It didn't end up very good for me. I lost again. Another Zard team. I was kind of disappointed that I lost to all the Zard teams, because I was hoping Palafin would be really good into it, but it probably was just on my play. Anyway, that has been your analysis. I had a lot of fun during this tournament, but going 3-5 stung a little. And part of the reason is I wanted to make a good video about it. I wanted to show what it's like to be trans in the Pokemon community and kind of have this moment of self-expression. And I also hope to show, like, yeah, I can have this self-expression and also win. I was considering scrapping the video, but after talking to a friend, he convinced me that I should still do it, and that even though I didn't win as many matches as someone like Wolf, I still have a story to tell. And so, there was one more goal I wanted to reach. The season was coming to an end, so I thought, why not try and get to champion tier? It is a lofty goal. I didn't think I'd be able to accomplish it, but sometimes you still gotta try. That's kind of my experience being trans. Is for so long I was too scared to come out, but because I thought I wouldn't be perfect. I wouldn't be the perfect woman, but nobody is. And at the end of the day, you just gotta try. With this goal in mind, I hopped on a plane to go back to California, and hopefully nothing goes wrong this time.
Hello, gamers. So, I'm currently stuck in Arizona. So this video is very much not sponsored by American Airlines because those fuckers wouldn't wait 2 minutes for us to get to our gate after our flight got delayed. We were booking it over there and they're like, nope, and now you gotta stay overnight in Arizona. So I'm clearly happy about it. It's like 1:30. I haven't been really able to get much sleep, but fuck you, American Airlines.
So, no longer trapped in Arizona. There was one thing about my team that felt off during the entirety of NAIC, and as much as I hate to say it, that was Sylveon. Now, I really wanted to use Sylveon. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. You know, it's the trans stereotype Pokemon. So, I wanted to use it. I felt like the team would not be complete without it, but it did leave my team lacking some crucial support that I needed. And one of the things I've learned about being trans is just the beauty of being able to change. And honestly, to me, that's kind of what being trans represents, is the ability to reinvent yourself, and that you're never gonna be stuck at one point in your life. So, unfortunately, I ditched Sylveon. Okay, that was a little rude of me. She's fine. She's still important to me. So, I traded out Sylveon for Clefable as my other pink Pokemon, and this crucially gives me access to Follow Me, which should really help Palafin be able to switch in and out easier. That was kind of one of my bigger problems, is Palafin felt super strong, but it was a lot of work to get set up, and I was often sacrificing a Pokemon or two just to get it into play. Notably also is that ability Unaware. Now, I noted I was having trouble with Espathra and Archaludon teams, and Unaware gets around those boosts, so I was kind of hoping that would help in those matchups. And now with this new team, I decided to make my push for Champions tier. I only had about a day, so time was tight, so I knew I'd have to start winning in the first few games.
I get flinched, okay. And low kick comes out. Luckily, because of all of our defensive boosts, that doesn't mean much for us, but, I think honestly, I kind of just want to life do here. Problem is, I am kind of in a tricky spot here. They do have Iron Head. That is not what I like to see. I was kind of operating that since they have low kick, they didn't have Iron Head, but... Huh. Oh, and the flinch! We are getting flinched at the Flinch Factory today. They're X! Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense given this team composition. And that also does not help the situation. They're coaching. Ah, okay, this is falling apart quickly. Maybe I survive a Thunder Punch. I do have bulk on this guy. It's a +2 Thunder Punch, but I think I just lose. Oh, they leave Sneasler and... Ay, caramba. Sometimes all you can say is like Rumba. Bulk Up Paladin might be the out now. Okay, they go for the Clef, at least, which means I do get a dual wing beat off of this Incineroar. They go for Rage Powder. Okay, they're not Machigaching here. That did a lot more than I was expecting. It is at +2, but I was hoping with the bulk up. Ooh. Six, 7. And King Gambit comes out. Congrats, King Gambit. I'm glad you're able to come out as trans. Very proud of you. Alright, they are just going into Sin. They didn't protect! They didn't protect. Oh, but they Dragon Danced. Okay. But they're down to 1, which means, Wait a second. I can just do this. Because Jet Punch should still pick up that Sinistcha, and then Sucker Punch should pick up Charizard. Okay, I actually like that. Yeah, Rage Powder goes off, but since I Jet Punch before the Sucker Punch... Okay, all the Clefable Moonblasts actually did seem to help in the end. And Sucker Punch. So that just puts us in a really good spot. And they realize that too, and they concede. Alright, I'm actually pretty happy we were able to claw our way out of that one, even though they threw some surprises at us. But hey, that Rock Slide actually did quite good damage. And we get the flinch. Let's go. Finally my turn to get flinches at the flinch factory. Alright, there's Incineroar. But they can't kill both of my Pokemon. And we're gonna get some good damage into them. Alright, almost half. And we get Poison Touch. Okay, that's solid. Dragon Claw. Okay, that does half. I'm kind of surprised it did that much. I could totally see them going into Charizard to Earthquake, but no, they swapped. Okay, they swapped that into Charizard. Okay, they didn't do. Maybe I tried to overpredict something here, but Fire Claw should still do some good damage. And we get the sleep. Ooh, that's really good, actually. And I'm gonna set up Tailwind, just so that King Gambit in the back will have an easier time. They just go for the Sludge Bomb, so I could have protected. Ooh, Poison is not exactly what I wanted to see there. Rock Slide is also not what I wanted to see there. Luckily that Life Dude's keeping us alive. Ooh! So there's an out. It's called they miss Sleep Powder, but no, they can just go for an attack here. There's an out here. It is called One Turn Sleep King Gambit. I don't think Sucker Punch will kill, but if we could like crit Sucker Punch. No, they went for Sleep Powder. Okay, they could miss. They could miss. There's a chance. I'm not giving up quite yet. Yes! Okay, they went for Sleep Powder. Could miss. Come on, miss. Yes! Let's go! Okay. Charizard's down at the very least. It's not over. Their Incineroar is low. Their Garchomp is low. This is winnable. The Sleep Powder miss makes this winnable. I don't care that I missed my Rock Slide on Venusaur, because, like, Charizard is really the one I needed to get down. It is these little things I need to work on cleaning up. But, okay. They have Earth Power! They do have Earth Power. They go for Rock Slide, though. Wait. And we wake up anyway, so we don't have to rely on the accuracy. And no flinch. Okay. It was a little hairy there, but we managed to make it through. Yeah. So, I didn't even get close. But I still had a fun time playing the team, making the team, and just the whole vibe of it. It felt really personal to me, and despite the fact that I didn't win as much as I hoped I was, I still consider this a success, because at the end of the day, I still did win a decent amount, and when you're building under restrictions like these, that's kind of difficult. Part of the beauty of the game, to me, is not necessarily winning, but the process of improving and constantly trying to make yourself better and the people around you, including your opponents. I made sure to give as tough as a challenge as possible for them, but that was my trans team. I'm going off script here. It's hard for me to figure out a proper end for this video because it's something very personal to me. There's a lot I want to say and I don't know if I have the words to say it, but if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. And if you're a trans member of the Pokemon community or a trans member who's interested in learning VGC and interacting with other VGC folk, trans folk, I have a server for that.
a Discord server. I have a Discord server for that called the Sylveon Lounge. If you want to gain access to that, either DM the Sylveon Lounge account on Twitter or Blue Sky. I don't check it often, but I'll try to check it and see if anyone else wants to join. It's a very lovely community, and know that you're not alone. There's many beautiful people who are playing this game, and there's a great community out there for you. And I know times are tough right now, but together we are stronger. Well, nothing more to say, but happy Pride. I don't know if I'm going to get this out by Pride Month, but even if it's delayed Pride, I still have Pride all year round.